Hey guys, welcome to my live stream. This is going to be a reading for, I want to use a code name Swan, because I just want to, and I feel like using that code name is going to help protect the energy of this live stream. So I'm speaking to Swan, and one of the first things that kind of comes to mind, also this is probably going to be a long reading, so buckle in. One of the first things that comes to mind is Bella Swan, like Twilight, the series. And this is a series where we have like this divine feminine archetype of an isolated woman. She sees the world differently from most of her peers. She has this like wise beyond her years energy. She comes from somewhat of a broken family. There are challenges related to how she sees attachment, like she has hesitancy or like is reluctant to want to be married by law. She has a mother that she loves that isn't always available because of her mother's priority over her own personal desires. And then she has a father who she hasn't really been around for most of her life, but that loves her, but is more comfortable loving people from a distance than having them like, you know, in their space because of probably core wounds related to their ability to love people properly when they are in close proximity. Or the fear also from like the father masculine energy, that they are a failure in love or like in close proximity to other people. So it's like a Bella Swan thing. And then she meets this like vampire dude who's like literally a dead man walking, and he has these demons, and she is accepting of him, and they fall in love. I'm picking up on that like Bella Swan energy from you. Okay, I'm just letting this kind of come to me as it does, because I do have some bullet points that I want to hit on for this reading, but I'm also just trying to get into flow state. One of the things that I've been working on in my own life is my own exploration of my own shadow. So that's part of the reason why I haven't been, I wasn't able to like churn out this reading the way I normally might have. Like we're getting pretty close to the 1 month mark for the booking of this reading, which is like, usually I try to get these done within like 2 weeks or so. Hey, welcome to the live. So yeah, like it's getting kind of close, and it's part of the reason why that is because I have just not been in my light aspect. I've been in the dark. And this is relevant to you because you mentioned your pets in your reading, and that was like a huge breakthrough for me because I recently had like a major epiphany related to the meaning of my pets, like why I have them. So, Swan, you also have a German breed dog. Which I immediately, when I knew that you had that, I was like, oh shit, like you're kind of like me in some kind of way. Um, but I didn't really know exactly like who Dominion was for me. Because he's also really clingy and he watches my back. Like when I was planning this reading, I was sitting on my floor. I'm in my bed now, and he like came behind me and like was just like touching my back. Like he was laying down. He's laying down still, like whatever there, but like, you know, he's like watches my back. Like, and one of the things that's interesting about that is that he's German breed and I have Jewish ancestry. And then there's even sometimes, like I was literally on TikTok earlier today and I was like, I get some German and like Jewish stuff, like both of them on my For You page. And I was on this like Hanukkah like celebration video. This is my Hebrew cat. But they actually get along really well. And then Dominion started like growling, like he was growling at my phone because I was watching it. Yeah. Um, so like I get this idea about your protection, right? Like that you might have some forces around you in the world that typically would not like someone like you, but like you. Like you are the only exception. Like that Paramore song. You are the only exception. And one of the ways that this actually manifests in my life is I'm like an obviously gender ambiguous kind of person. Like, I effortlessly and naturally kind of fluctuate in this way. It doesn't require any force from me to kind of hit multiple different check different boxes in different binaries. Like, that's just one of the ways that I'm meant to be. I have a Virgo rising, so it's mercurial, and Mercury is non-polar in nature. So I have a lot of Virgo in my chart, actually. So yeah, that's one of the things about me. And there are certain times and places where I'll be in spaces that are more conservative, and these natural aspects of myself will be like made known. Like, they'll, regardless of me trying to make them known, like, they just will be known because it's like a part of who I am as a person and my energy signature. And then I'll even be able to like perceive other people like kind of being like, okay, well, normally I don't really like when a person is like a tomboy, or like I don't really like when a person is like a femboy, or like whatever. Like, normally this is something that I like, but on you, like, it just makes sense. Like, you carry it well. Like, it just tracks. Like, you make sense in this environment despite the ways that you contrast this environment. And I agree that you should be a part of this environment even though you do contrast this environment. And so I feel like there could be some recognition moments like that happening around you, and that's due to the support of your spiritual team. But not only like the light aspect, but also the darker aspects, right? Because one of the purposes of you having this willingness or this natural ability to kind of stick out in these ways is because there are these darker forces, darker not necessarily meaning bad, but just, you know, more hidden, more scorpionic, more intense, more like related to fear and the response that humans naturally have spiritually, like chemically, from experiencing fear as like a root emotion, and not just like the obvious fear of like fight or flight, but also when you're triggering someone by showing something about themselves through your presence. So I feel like that could be happening. Like, I mean, this is like in the workspace, because I know you're working metaphysically, like spiritually now. Like, you have your own business. So I wonder if there's ever times when you're giving someone a reading and you're speaking really honestly, very accurately about them, in ways that they didn't expect you to be able to do. And this is something that I've noticed that happens a lot with me in my career, like spiritually, and like doing energy consultations. Is there are people who will want to like be like, hey, read me, you know, and then they'll be shocked at how accurately I actually am able to read them. Or like, even in my relationships, part of the reason why I feel like I'm so gate kept from having relationships is because of the actual intensity of what my relationships are. Because if you guys think that I can do this for you, and I've never met you, and I'll never meet you, and we've never even touched, then you should like experience what it's like to be my boyfriend. Like, and like, once I actually like, you know, I'm like really like in there. It's like there's really nothing that you could really keep from me, because, you know, we've connected in such a way that there's just no way that you could, with my level of sensitivity. So yeah, like, I feel like you're somebody who's differentiated from most people experience for like these reasons. Like, and there's something about the attachments that you have, because I was like wary to say like you have demonic attachments, right? Because I feel like people are like scared of what that means. But I feel like probably the greater truth is that we all have them. Like, we all have these ways in which we're inclined naturally to sin. We all have weaknesses about ourselves and our egos that we then would need a buffer for or some assistance with, and that this would be something that's kind of like written into who we are as people and part of our purpose as well. Like, you know, I wonder if you could ever have related to like having had an addiction and then like overcome that addiction, and then you kind of like maybe spoke to people about like what that process was like for you. That was like a vice, or like a demon that you had, that you carried until you learned how to overcome it or move beyond it. And that's like, that's good at the same time. Like, it's good to have had that experience, because then you know how to transmute that energy, not only for yourself in the continued future, but then also for other people who will then be drawn into you and to that. Like, they'll be attracted to you for the sameness of what it feels like to have that demon, and then they'll be like, okay, yeah, like, this is us, and it's possible to be different in the future. So I think your guides are kind of like wanting to encourage you to to not shy away from what even those darker aspects are of yourself, to be really like comfortable being honest about like what those experiences for yourself have been and are. Especially because I know that you talked in your request about like having you're moving into a new relationship, and you're wanting to be like, you're wanting to have a deep relationship, you're wanting to be devoted, you're wanting that to like work out well for yourself. And I feel like one of the key strategies in like that being successful and you actually getting the outcomes that you were wanting or that you'd be most fulfilled by spiritually, emotionally, maybe even sexually, is the vulnerability, the depth. Like I'm thinking of that Little Peep song. It's like, put it on me, that's the best part, baby. The trust me, I got nothing for you, only the love. And it's like, you know, like there could be some aspects of like this vulnerability that start to feel kind of corny to you, because you might start to feel like, depending on your response internally to vulnerability, you might start to feel like, oh, like I'm making myself like too available, or like I'm being like too chalant, like I'm not really like keeping it a secret that I'm invested or like whatever. Um, but I think you're being encouraged to kind of overcome like whatever that blockage might be, because that might have been like a self-protective mechanism that you like gained at some point in the past due to some kind of like traumatic experience where like you were seen for all of your investments, you were like known for who you really are, and then you were like shamed. Like when it comes to demonology, like that resonates for me, because I remember when I was first starting to learn about like the darker side of things, and I was actually like staying with my family, like maternal side family at the time, and they found this book that I was reading, and it was about like it was like about like the devil and like the history of evil, and like I was just super interested in it because like I've always been a religious person. Like one of the family names for like Hydes, I'm a Hyde. One of our family names is Theodore, which is like to love God, like God lover, this man who loves God. Like so, it's interesting that duality within myself, because and I hope this inspires you in some kind of way, because I'm somebody who has a name that literally indicates evil and darkness, like Hyde. And then I also have a family name, a reputation of being someone who is very reverent of God, um, and very like dutiful and servant, like having a servant kind of response to the world around me. Like it's interesting, and so whenever I think of like how I can like grow in power, because it's not just like, you know, like I want to have more power, but it's also like I think I'm deserving of like the next level now. Like it's kind of natural to be like, okay, well I'm at this level and I'm, you know, I'm successful at this level, and I don't want to stay complacent with this level. So then what is next? Like what is beyond my current sphere? And that's the only way that you could really grow in size, is to be willing to see like what else you could absorb within yourself to be worthy of that next bigger size, to take up more space. So part of like my current stage of like development and growth right now is like being willing to go to the darker side, like being willing to see what's going on over there, and being willing to like kind of accept that as also being equal and opposite and natural in the ways that it is. So I've been actually like taking like personal journeys. I've been exploring a lot of things that make me in some ways less available to like you guys, but also make me better in my service to you guys, because what I'm learning when I'm over there is what's further beneath the surface. So like I don't think I ever really have been the kind of reader that was like only ever giving like words of um like platitude, or like I was never like the coaxer. You know, there's a lot of spiritualists who will tell you like nice things. I don't think I was ever really meant to be that guy. Like, I've always kind of been like respected for my ability, but I never really like blew up so much. I remember there was even a phase in my TikTok journey, like when I was like really rapidly growing, but still not growing as much. Like there were people who were like hitting like 100,000 followers and like 200,000 followers, and I was like, what is it like? Because when I was comparing like my content to theirs, I was like, mine is like way better. Like I was like, I was like, I'm way more deep. I'm giving a lot more detail. I'm not like just like telling you what you want to hear. Like, why is it that my content is not like developing and growing as fast? Like, it just pissed me off for a while. And then God was like kind of talking to me and like relaxing me. He was like, Trust me, it's fine. You don't want to be those guys anyways, because all of those guys, like when I look back now, like I don't even see them post anymore. Like I don't even know if they're like even like doing anything anymore. Like, you know, like after a while of like saying the same thing over and over again, I'm sure like, you know, you kind of run out of things to say if it's not like real and genuine and honest. So I've just been focused and guided to focus on creating content that like is real and genuine and honest and like is truly aligned with the source that I'm of service to. And that means that there's sometimes when like there's less to say, and sometimes that means that like what I have to say isn't really like the nicest thing to say. So I'm saying this mostly because I know that you're someone who is actually working in this exact same industry, and you're giving out like advice and things like that. So if there ever comes a time when you're called to like make a choice between like being genuine and authentic and losing certain material things like status, followers, attention, metrics, and like, you know, being the business mogul, I would say definitely like make sure that you're maintaining like more of a spiritual prioritization in your functionality, because the material things just really don't matter as much in the grander, like longer, bigger picture. So I was using this like ancestral deck. Also, I wanted to mention you have an Aries dog too, the Mexican one, and I have an Aries dog. Josh Allen is my Aries dog. Um, and one of the things that was happening recently, that I've noticed when it comes to the spiritual warfare that I've been experiencing, that like they particularly are really helping me protect myself from, um, because they're like always fighting. My dogs they fight for fun, so I feel like they exhaust a lot of energy in fighting each other. And that's like a manifestation that I can see of like kind of like spiritual warfare, like in my day-to-day life, is when my dogs fight, because they're actually like best friends. Like they love each other, but they fight for fun. And Dominion kind of always wins. Even though Josh is a bully, like Josh will start the fights and then Dominion will finish them, fin them. He's like a shark. My Belgian Malinois is like a shark dog, and then um, Josh Allen is like more like a whale to me. He's like he has like a beluga whale kind of like look about him. Um, but yeah, Josh is younger, but he's bigger, and he likes to use his size to like push around. And he's also super white, like super white and fluffy, and he has blue eyes. So he's like, I make jokes with him, and I call him like super like recessive. And I feel like the recessiveness, like I'll make jokes with him, and I'll say that his recessiveness is the reason why he wants to fight all the time. Um, because he has like maybe more to prove about his dominance than Dominion does, as like a super brown dog with like black ears and like really dark eyes. So I feel like you might experience people who like the people who are most likely to kind of like oppose you in your material reality and kind of spiritually attack you, are people who have more to prove or have some kind of internal desire to dominate you. But you would then be like the one who has dominion. So any attempt to dominate dominion fails because dominion has dominion. So I think it's like just another confirmation coming through here that you're kind of like naturally set up to be successful even in situations that are meant to kind of destroy you, or like if there's ever anyone who tries to like set a trap for you in life, you're naturally able to kind of like circumvent these downfalls. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that you're submissive to the guidance that you receive. And Dominion is actually the best behaved. Well, he's bad sometimes too. Like, you know, sometimes he's a Belgian Malinois, you know, so sometimes he does stuff he's not supposed to do. But he's also the one who, like, knows the most tricks, will sit, like, he's more likely to just, like, do the things he's supposed to do, in my experience. Like, Josh is the younger dog. He's only a year old. So he's still, like, he's the younger soul out of the two of them, even though he's bigger. And I'm like nervous to tell you what I've learned about demons, because I've also recently learned that I shouldn't be telling everybody everything that I know. Because I told someone, like, you mentioned in your request that you like prayed before your birthday, for God to kind of like reveal snakes and enemies to your progress, and then you ended up cutting off this like friendship of yours. And that's like, it resonated with me because I went through something similar where I had taught someone something about like my Hebrew magic, like my Jewish magic, like um the things that I know that I have access to in a more of like a closed practice kind of a way. Like I wouldn't expect anyone, just anyone, to be able to pick up these things and then like benefit from them. And I didn't ever expect her to actually like use the things that I told her, especially like against me or like against those that I have some kind of like spiritual protection over. Because in a way, which I think is interesting also to think about and speak on, is part of the reason why I'm allowed to live a comfortable existence is because I'm being kind of like divinely used as like an umbrella. So people who kind of come to me for spiritual support, and then I'm kind of like protecting, kind of like a church, like an actual physical church, like my account and those who follow me out of a desire to have a connection to source, and those who interact with me out of a desire to have a connection with source, and those who interact with me in like this pure way, this divinely guided way, that's like the church that I lead, like, because the church is just the body of Christ and I'm a follower of Christ, and everything that I kind of do through my accounts and through my platforms is to serve Christ. Like, let that be known. Like, no question about it. I'm like, you know, so like that means that I'm somewhat of like a priest over these people who come to me for support, who like look to me for support and need that from me, and so that this space is super protected. So when you're like, you know, even as you go out in your world and you're doing things that have nothing to do with me, I still feel like I'm somehow like, like I feel like an octopus. Like I have my legs are like around things, and then there could even be things that I do in my life that end up some kind of like it's like butterfly affecting other things that are happening in the lives of people who I end up guiding. And right now I'm like, I just feel called to look up at this bird's nest that's like in this tree that's like right next to my house. Like I feel like the mother archetype, like not just like as if you guys were my children, but also as if you guys are those who I'm nurturing in this space. And like there are certain times when I'm called to do certain like rituals or practices, and then I'll share them with you guys, and then those things that I'm sharing are then having impressions on people who once again are choosing to be hive mind. Yeah, kind of like hive mind. Um, choosing to interact with me or to like, you know, because I remember there was a time like when I was living in 29 Palms, like I used to do a lot more magic in 29 Palms. Like I was doing a lot of magic in 29 Palms. But like I would do like self-love. A lot of this was like self-love stuff. Like I would do a lot of like beauty stuff, and what else was I doing? I did this one rainwater jar. 29 Homes is like the middle of the fucking desert, but there was this one period of time when it was like raining. Like it was raining for like 3 days straight. And something in me was like, get a jar and collect this water. So I did, and I collected it, and then I ended up breaking some glass, and then I put um the broken glass into the rainwater, and then I sealed the jar, and like I burnt a candle, like the wax to seal it, and then it was like this whole thing. I don't remember all the details of it, but it was like a long time ago. Like when I first moved into this apartment, because I was surrounded by enemies. Like when I first moved into this apartment, I felt like like I was in the middle of like a piranha tank. Like I was a human or like a fish in the middle of like a piranha tank, because at the time that I was in that environment, I was liberally politically oriented. Like I was more like democratic in my nature at that time. And then you know, I just like simmered. Like I simmered, and I was cooked in that environment, like pressure cooked in that environment. And now I'm someone like completely different, and it's because my worldview has changed. In being surrounded by like, it's almost as if I was like a really bright blue surrounded by really bright red, and then now I'm like purple. Like it's like I absorbed my environment, and it's not that I have changed in my essential nature. It's just that now there's another lens on top of who I am now. And that lens is like not something that I probably would have gained from being surrounded by those who are like myself. So yeah, I was talking to Swan like in my email, because we were talking about like our new relationship dynamics and partners, and I was talking to her about how because she mentioned that she's dating someone who's of a different race that she's never been with before, and I was like, well, yeah, I can kind of relate to that, because I'm with a white guy right now. Like, but and then I mentioned that he like has, how do I explain this? There's something about his energy that isn't cookie cutter at the same time. I hope that makes sense. And I don't like, I'm like trying not to say words like bland or um whatever, because like I don't feel like that's really fair, like really nice, and I don't want to be mean or rude. But he has, I feel like, he how do I say this, bear with me as I try to find the proper words. I think I would describe him as somebody who has a willingness to see beyond his own scope. Yeah, a willingness and a desire and an interest in seeing life from scopes that are not natural to him or beyond his natural one. And I feel like that's something that's true about myself as well. So I feel like that's why I would have attracted him and we would have like worked well together. It's because we're not so we don't identify so much as what is obvious about us, that we're incapable of seeing how these same traits exist within other scopes or like in other environments or in other arenas. Like we are probably people who are capable of seeing ourselves in a lot of different people. And also, like we mentioned, like she mentioned that her person. I don't know why I can't talk. I'm sorry. It has a Sagittarius moon, and Sagittarius is also my person has Sagittarius moon. Sagittarius moon is really interesting, and I really like people who have Sagittarius moon because they're usually really funny people. And you know, some of that is like a darker humor. Sagittarius is like it's like the horse, it's like the archer. So these people usually have like a pretty good amount of mental focus, a lot of endurance, like they can work really hard on themselves. You'll probably notice people who have Sagittarius moons like kind of being either loners or people who are putting themselves around others for the sake of learning about themselves. So like you might meet a Sagittarius moon who's like a party person, but like while they're at the party they're like watching everybody and they're like psychologically like breaking them down and they're like taking notes like subconsciously about these people that they're meeting, and then they find fascination in like dissecting like and not just like from like a lab perspective when you're like standing in one spot like cutting through things. Like this Sagittarius moon is kind of like more like dissection through action, like when like I personally like I am the thing that is like I am the blade and God is kind of using me to cut, like I'm the one that's separating the things, and I can do that because I have this really big throbbing mind and I can see the difference between this and this. I know what this is and I know what that is. So like on topic of like dating white guys because these are like notorious like racists, historically speaking, and like they can be really like Pride and Prejudice-y, right? um you know, I tend to not necessarily attract white people that don't have prejudice. Like I'm not like really even interested in those who have like completely abandoned their ability to differentiate. I'm, you know, more so interested in those who can differentiate with wisdom. So I feel like, you know, and I mentioned the whole like darker aspect of things, right? Like, you know, when like okay, there are even some like people within my sphere, like other like maybe like black women, right, who have seen me in the world with like my person, and they're like, well, I kind of want to be with a white guy, and they're thinking that you could just like go out in the world and like grab one of these guys off the shelf and that it's gonna like it's gonna like work, but no, like there's it's levels to this shit. Like there genuinely is levels to this shit. So like I don't know, like it's kind of hilarious now that I say it out loud, but it's like true. Like, whatever. So like, let's say for example, like you know, with your Asian guy, because Asians, you know, I'm speaking generally here. You know, they can be pretty racist too. So like you might realize that the way that your person treats you is not how they treat every person who fits into your category. Um, and that's just kind of like how it is. So I don't know, like you may or may not appreciate that. Just depending on like your stuff. But I feel like, you know, that's something that you might be challenged with experiencing as you're continuing to explore what's out there. I don't want to spend like too much time talking about that, but you know, that's like a real thing. Like that's like just real shit. So yeah, let's talk about like this whole revealing the snakes and the Emmys of the progress thing, because there's a couple things I want to touch on before we get into like the love and like child stuff, because I know you want to talk about that as well. So the first 3 bullet points that I have are revealing the snakes, like what's being removed from your life basically. Business insights, what's working and what could use improvement. Not because anything's going wrong, but just because I'm wanting to help you. Not just right now, but also maybe like in the upcoming months, so that you don't have to like keep booking with me all the time, unless you want to, which is awesome. And then what your guides have to say about your practice, like because you mentioned like working with your altar, and I know that you work with some like disciples of Christ specifically, which I have been going to church, so like I might be able to help you with that. Um, and then the last 2 are like the new relationship with that person, and then the fostering the child part. So yeah. So what do your ancestors specifically want you to know about what's being kind of eclipsed from your life, like what's being purged? And I'm recording this at a time when my period is late. Like it's like, and this has been happening like the past 2 months. Like my period's been late. It's been pissing me off actually, because I am hormonally regular. And I usually like, and this is a little bit my shadow, like my darkness is like, you know, I have a little bit of like internalized misogyny, which shows in like my masculine disposition. So I don't really I don't like being an overly emotional person. Like I don't like to be someone who feels out of control of their emotions, and I don't like to like frequently or publicly display large amounts of emotion. So like that to me is outside of my comfort zone. But ever since I've been with my new person, and we've been like exchanging like sexually specifically, like my internal balance has been off. Like I've been emotional, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like I actually cried yesterday a little bit. Like not a lot, because I can never really cry more than like 3 tears at once. But like I actually like shed like 3 tears yesterday. It was just crazy. Because I was just feeling like overwhelmed, I guess, or like out of control, and I like I actually broke down. Like I was talking to my person, like I was like, dude, like like looking back at it, I feel like I was being dramatic, but like it felt so real at the time. Like at the time that I was texting him, and I was like, you know, having anxiety, 9 of Swords. Like everything that I was worried about felt like it was real, but I guess maybe it really wasn't. Um, but I was basically like telling him like, hey, like I'm always alone. Like I'm always by myself. Like I don't have anybody in my life. Like I don't really have friends. I don't really leave my house because I work from home. Like he has a Sagittarius moon, right? And you'll also, like I mentioned, that they're horses, like they move around, they like to be free. Um, so like I, you know, let him be free. Like he'll move throughout the world, and like I usually don't even know like what he's up to unless he's like telling me what he's up to. And like normally that's fine because I'm pretty good at trust. When I feel like it's a good idea to lend it to someone. And in him, like, you know, it was really easy to trust him because it just kind of like felt like ever since I met him, we just kind of like clicked together, and it was just like, okay, like cool, like I like you, I trust you. And like for me, this is how it works. But like yesterday, I was really anxious, and I was like, well, dude, like I basically belong to you. Like it's not really fair, like, cause you can do stuff and like I don't do anything at all, and like what now, like,
And it felt like in the moment that like the situation was imbalanced, and I don't know that it really was, or if it was just me reacting to the differences in like our ability or something like that. Like, I don't know, because it's not that I even really want to be like in the world that much, right? Like I was having that reaction to him, like hanging out with his friends, because he also just went on this boys trip to like the fucking mountains. So he was like, you know, gallivanting through the snow and shit like that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be a good girlfriend and I'm just gonna like let him do what he needs to do and like let him have his freedom so that like whenever he comes back, like it'll be like good. Like he'll be ready to be around me and like spend time with me and like he won't feel like I'm chaining him down because I don't want to be that person in the relationship that like is a weight or like a burden, you know? So I was like, yeah, this is a good idea because I trust him. Like he can go and spend a couple days like away with his friends and like that'll be fine, and then he'll come back and then we'll just be like normal again. But then like when he came back, like I was expecting him to kind of like immediately like want to hang out with me because I missed him. And I hadn't been like talking to him for like most of the weekend, and he hadn't really been talking to me for most of the weekend. And I was like, okay, well, like when he comes back, like for sure we're gonna hang out. But then he was working, and then I was like, well, you know, it feels like you're still away, like even though you're here, like you're not even that far from me, but it feels like you're like far. Um, and like this is all the while like my period is like late, my emotions like are like heightened, and like my hormones are like imbalanced, and like I'm just kind of like trying to like figure out how to control this or like contain this so that it doesn't like explode and leak out into the relationship. Like I'm trying, like genuinely trying to not like leak out my imbalance into the relationship. But it was really hard to do because especially when like you're like for me like as somebody who normally is in control, it can be hard to know when you're out of control. Like if I'm somebody who normally is able to like rely on my feelings as being accurate and just and appropriate, and then all of a sudden I'm having feelings that feel equally as real and equally as justified, but they're kind of resulting more from an internal imbalance that I'm not even familiar with, so that it's difficult for me to even detect. Like then I can start to invest in those feelings that result from that imbalance as if they were normal, but they're really not. So yeah, I've been personally challenged recently in my relationship in self consoling. Not because I should never like be able to get reassurance, because I did get reassurance from him when we had like a conversation recently, but because it's important for me to be able to have self control. Um, but yeah, I think honestly it would be fair to say that I was kind of catastrophizing a little bit because I was like thinking like maybe we shouldn't be together. Like there was a point like I didn't say this to him because I didn't like really want us to not be together. But I was like thinking in my head, I was like, well, like, you know, I was fine before I met you. I was like, dude, like, you know, I was really okay. So but then I had to like talk to myself. I don't really want to like not be with him. I just have to figure out how to like how to get used to the new normal, that is interacting with someone else and dealing with that new variable of them being an independent person outside of myself, and then whatever their personal needs might be, and then whatever their personal darkness might be, and um, you know, that not being something that I do have control over as much as I might want to think that I do. Um, and then kind of like coaching myself through the ups and downs of what it means to actually have a relationship with someone else. Because I actually wanted to mention this. When you were talking about that like other relationship that didn't work out, and you were like, well, like, he was just like leaning on me too much. And then like in the same email you were like, well, I'm thinking about like fostering a kid. Like one of the first things that popped in my head was like that foster child would like probably lean on you like a lot more than like a grown man would. And whatever like that grown man was leaning on you for is probably a result of their inner child. So then there's like the question that I feel like you might want to ask yourself about like whether or not you have the capacity to be leaned on the way that an inner child might need support. You know, like if you, and I don't think that you don't have this capacity, but, and it might just be that, you know, you are more comfortable fostering children because you can expect them to be children. But in a relationship, I feel like you have to consider the child that's within that person, because the child never really goes away. The child is still there. And that just might be something that you want to think about. Like, you know, like what was it actually about being leaned on that was so difficult for me in that situation? Not because you need to go back to that person or you need to, like, you know, whatever, but because there's probably something about yourself to be learned in how you respond to other people needing your support emotionally. I know I witnessed myself shut down when other people were kind of expecting me to, like, rise to the occasion for them. Because, like, even though, like, you might look at me and think, like, oh, I'm, like, a really nice person, like, I also don't have so much empathy to, like, just throw around. Like, I usually save my fucks to give for, like, people that actually matter to me. Like, I don't know, one of the things that happened to me in 29 Palms was a severe decrease in available empathy for, like, distribution, which is part of the reason why I think I'm more, like, conservatively aligned than I was before. Like, when I was more liberal, I felt like everybody should, you know, be caring about everybody all the time, and I don't really feel like that as much anymore. Like, which might sound like bad, but I don't think it really is. Like, I think there's an extent to which we should draw the line about how much we care, and that's just, like, inappropriate use of personal resources. Like, we can't be caring about everybody, like, because if we did, then we would have nothing for ourselves. So it is important to be able to, like, know, like, what that line is for yourself and to draw it. But yeah, like, nowadays I'm more so only really caring about those people that I feel like I have like some kind of, like, personal investment in, like my family, or my pets, my partner in a relationship. Like, I care about him. But, like, you know, if, like, you know, this actually happened the other day. Like, I was walking my dogs and, like, stuff like that, and I heard some random person scream, like, in the distance. And it sounded like they were, like, you know, hurting or, like, in trouble, and I was like, damn, somebody's screaming. Like, a past version of me would have, like, wanted to figure out, like, what was going on. Like, do you need my help? Are you okay? But nowadays I'm just like, fuck, somebody's screaming over there. Dude, I know that probably sounds so fucked up, but I just can't save everybody. And I used to really want to save everybody. Like, I used to really have, like, a really big savior complex where, like, if anybody needed help, then I was gonna, like, be the one who was, like, gonna help them. But nowadays, bro, and this has been, like, kind of forced on me. I don't think that everybody should be like me. Like, if you still have empathy, like, that's great. But I've kind of had it beat out of me a little bit by, like, my life experiences. Like, it's just, like, you know, I've seen enough to know that stuff happens and that there's a recovery available after stuff happens. So, like, you know, who's to say that I would have got over there to where that person was screaming and then they would have just been like, oh, I'm fine, and then it would have wasted my energy to even, like, go over there in the first place. Like, I don't know, like, I think about things differently now. So if you're feeling like that lack of empathy towards other people, I'm just trying to say, like, I understand it. I understand it. But also understand, like, you know, especially in the case of, like, taking on this, like, responsibility over a child, like, you know, you might be tested and challenged in that. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the whole, like, cutting off the snakes thing, but I got distracted, so let's go back to that. And then there's also, like, this energy of, like, you know, sometimes people deserve stuff, and then they want to kind of make it seem like they don't deserve what they're getting, but they actually kind of do. Like, there could be some people around you who are really attached to the victim narrative, and that is something that empowers them, like to always be underneath the boot and never really see like where they've ever done wrong, which I don't really like to have people like that around me, because I prefer personally to take accountability over where I'm going wrong so that I can actually fix things and not do that wrong anymore. So yeah. So what do your guys want you to know about what's being purged from your life right now? We have the Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So I feel like whatever is being purged is for the sake of like having a clean slate moving into the new year or into new projects or whatever, new relationships, stuff like that. Because one of the things I realized about that friend that I kind of had to take some space from was that like you know, most of our relationship that we had kind of built was like we built it in mutual lack. Like when I was thinking about stuff, like I met her at a time when I was in this situationship that like really wasn't going anywhere, and she was in a situationship, and I won't speak on like her potential in that relationship, because it's not my place. But we both were like not having what we wanted, and we were kind of just like bonding over the fact that we didn't have what we wanted, and then things kind of changed when I started to get what I wanted. Like when things started to like kind of go good, then like she didn't really want to like talk to me anymore. Like hearing me talk about the things that were going good in my life started to like bother her. And then I was like, well, you know, if I can't even like share joy with you, then like we probably shouldn't be friends like I thought we were. So like so, and it just like it reflected a mother wound that I have. So then it just kind of like brought it to my attention that like, you know, hey, like there could be something kind of out of balance about this that maybe I should like take some time to like be aware of before I kind of fall victim to it. Because I had told her like one of the things that really brought to my attention, I was like, hey, like me and my boyfriend are gonna go to church together, and then like at the time I was like sharing my location with her so she could see it, and I know that she's like the type to like keep up with it. So all of a sudden like we didn't go that Sunday, and it was like there was a misalignment there that didn't have to even exist there. And then I was like, the only person I even told about this plan was you. Like I was like, dude, were you preying on my downfall, dude? And then my guys were kind of like, yeah, like the devil, like, and then the Knight of Pentacles. I was like, yeah, bro, like she probably kind of was. And so then I unshared my location, and I just didn't like tell her anything else after that, because I was like, okay, well, good thing is that the cycle will repeat. Like Sunday's coming again next week, so like we can just go next Sunday. But it's good to know that like you don't want me to like meet with a person with Christ. Like you were kind of bothered by the fact that my relationship is progressing to a point where we are both taking communion with Christ together. And that's just, you know, so not something that I know that I really want to allow to persist. So, yeah, like certain realizations gonna be coming up for you, like, you know, about like what's what, who's who, and you don't have to like even be like mad about this stuff. Like you don't have to be bothered by this stuff. Like this is just like you getting the heads up about how to adjust yourself and your positioning to make sure that the things that you actually want to happen in your life are allowed and able to happen. Yeah. Okay, so what else about what's being purged? King of Swords. So I was thinking, I didn't say anything, but I had this childhood pet named Cabo, and he was like, he was a husky lab mix, but he was like, we adopted him off of Craigslist for free, and he only understood Spanish commands. He was cool as hell, but he was like really protective, like really super protective. So I feel like you might have some kind of friend on the other side here. because this guy, the King of Swords, is sitting on a cloud, like on a pillow in the clouds or something like that. So there could be someone who's passed over that's kind of guiding this, like kind of pointing their sword at who the enemy is so that you can be aware of them. Six of Wands in the reverse. Yeah, because these are like definitely enemies of progress, enemies of success. Six of Wands. And they're not people who are going to like be in your face like I'm your enemy. That's the crazy, that's the, you know, the crazy and complex part about this is that a lot of the people who aren't happy for you are also people who are probably pretty close to you. I just took my smokes out of my pocket. Like, you know, like the thing that rappers say, they're like the smoking ops. So like, people could be literally smoking and like thinking of you, or like drinking and thinking of you, and it's like they're sending out their mental, like their King of Swords, like their, fuck, how do I say this? This is magic. I had to hold on to my nose. Yeah, like there could be people who are smoking and thinking of you, like, because it's almost like they're stressed out, like they're like something about whatever is happening around you they can perceive, it's like stressing them out, so they're like, I'm gonna like have a smoke, or I'm gonna take a drink, and then they're thinking of you like while they're doing it, and they're like upset or like whatever. And they could be projecting energy towards you, or like sending out demons towards you, or sending out their spirit guides towards you. But there's like someone on their team that likes you, so it's not actually working. I actually experienced this a lot when because I, for whatever God-willed reason, and this is like a family thing, actually. Okay, like this isn't just me. My dad relates to this too, because he used to, my whole family used to be in California, and the Hispanic population in Southern California is anti-black. Like they don't like black people down there. Like they just don't. They're racist as hell. So my dad used to be gang affiliated. Still probably, you know, is, but just, you know, he's a G now. He's got status that doesn't have to be proved as much. So, he used to be like really active in the gangs in Southern California, like known, and he had a lot of Hispanic ops. And then when I was down there, I had a lot of Hispanic ops. And a lot of things that they, like, you know, they're like, the brujeria thing is like, you know, like they're ace up their sleeve, except it almost kind of feels like nowadays, like kind of everybody kind of knows to expect that from them. So like I'll get like witches, like they'll fucking do shit towards me, and then, you know, they don't even know I had like a Cabo. They don't even know about Cabo. Like I had a dog that I saved from death from my Hispanic family, and I got that guy like guarding me from like from the fucking like 60 or whatever. Like they don't know about Cabo, like, you know. So there are forces around you that are protecting you that like your enemies wouldn't even perceive that you have a defense towards them and towards whatever they might be kind of conjuring up against you. It doesn't have to be like, you know, based in like any kind of like ethnic thing. It could just be like, you know, you're at work and people underestimate what your skill set actually is. So like they're thinking that you won't be able to pick up on whatever code that they're putting down, but you actually do know how to read code. You speak the language here maybe better than people think that you actually do. Or you're just able to pick up on meaning beyond what's explicit and in your face. Which would tie into you know, being like an energy reader. That makes complete sense for you. And this is like related to mental energy, with the King of Swords being the first card that came out. Like you're really mentally capable. I don't know if you like performed well in school. You might not have. And that could be another reason why people like kind of underestimate you, because you might, you know, be someone that people are like, well, could categorize as not being smart for whatever reason. Because, like, I was actually top of my class in school, but I didn't go to college right after high school. Like, I went to college in high school. So I was just kind of, like, done with school. Like, I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I've already proved it to myself that I'm a genius. So I'm kind of done now. So the people who were, like, you know, not as smart as me, who went on to college, that they were doing more than me because they went to college, but then I started a business and then lived off of it in California. And I was like living their dream while they were studying algebra. So I feel like that could even be some of the source of this, some of this energy that you have to shake off now. Is because you have such dominion. Like, it seems like you might have like a natural ability to have the things that everybody else is aspiring towards. Queen of Pentacles and the Magician. Like, you're really powerful. And this is coming from this yellow energy of like the solar plexus. This is like related to your identity, your confidence to go out and strive and get things. So you're the person that like has the idea and then starts working on the idea. Like, I remember, like, you know, I don't remember the exact reading actually, but you know, I gave you apparently a reading at some point about your ability to start a business in this career, in this industry, and then you're doing it and you're successful. I checked actually the other day, and you've already hit 10K, so congratulations. But like, you know, you're doing it in a way that people from the outside, you probably would like not even, I don't know, maybe you can imagine, but like, I think people are really impressed with you. And what you've been able to accomplish, maybe in like not even that much time. So, you know, you definitely have a reason to have enemies. And like, that's something that I think I'm meant to kind of confirm for you, because you might be like, you know, kind of used to like perceiving life through this more like love and light lens, which I think a lot of us want to, because we want to be more optimistic about things. But, you know, if you feel a way, it's not for no reason. And I feel like you currently are sitting in a level of status and prestige in the world that would give people a reason to oppose you. So it's important to be aware of the fact that there would be a reason to oppose you. And when you're aware of that, you can defend yourself from the opposition because it's not going undetected. Like, when you're really grateful for what you have to the point where you can see what other people don't have, then you're able to more accurately and correctly secure your possessions against those who would be initiated into thievery or jealousy. Because, like, when it comes to my platform, like, I was in a relationship, a situationship, I should probably say, in, like, the past, like, 2 years or so, and he had, like, other girls that he, like, was with. And, like, they knew about me, and they would like see my account, and I had more followers. I was the absolute apex, Top Gun. I was #1 for sure. But he didn't like really treat me like #1, so it didn't really go anywhere. But like, the other girls would like look at my accounts, and then they would like, you know of my existence, and then they would compare themselves to me. And then one of them, she would use magic against me, and like, I was literally losing followers because I was running out of, like, she was, I think, siphoning my creative energy. She also had a platform that she was posting on, but like, all she really did was like shake her ass on it. Like, she didn't really like talk. She didn't have a voice, so she didn't have anything of personality to contribute to the world around her. So the fact that like I could literally get on my pajamas and like just post up and like talk to people about what was going on, like pissed her off, because it was a very clear indicator of a difference in our quality that she felt threatened by. And so she was initiated into kind of like spiritually hijacking me, to the point where like I had to like completely back off of that relationship entirely, because she had created such like a spiritual stronghold on that man. Like, because I'm not like somebody who uses my magic to like secure people. Like, I'm evolved further enough in my wisdom to know that that's a waste of my energy to try to like manifest a specific person or use my magic to kind of like hold them where I want them to be, or to make them fall in love with me, or to like whatever. Like, that's just not how I use my power, because I feel like that's beneath me. But for her, it's like, oh, well, I'm just like so excited to flex this muscle. I'm gonna use my magic on this person to get them to do whatever I want, and then I'm also going to like harm anyone who tries to interfere with my possession over this person. So because I had a relationship with him that was different from her possession magic really wasn't working as well because our relationship wasn't based at all in possession. Like the fact that I could be attached to him, have affection towards him, and he was like talking to like maybe like 5 different girls, like obviously it wasn't based in possession. Like I'm not so possessive, really. Um but she very much was. So, you know, yeah. There could be stuff like that going on, like, where people were noticing the difference between your access point and their access point, and then kind of wanting to hijack your access point, interfere with your access point, or make you walk away from what's serving you the most in your life right now. The Hierophant and Sad Squirrel. Yeah. This is just, people wanting you to kind of like give up your territory. Like when it comes to that like interracial relationship, because you're dating somebody who's Asian now, there could be people like in their group, like their race, who are like thinking like from the outside looking in, like this can't be serious because you're different. I must like be more attractive to them because I'm more like them. But they're actually wrong about that, I think. 10 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Like, Six of Pentacles in reverse. There's a reason why this person's choosing you. I actually was thinking about this, and I didn't really have any confirmation of this in my own life until like right now. But I was like, my person followed me on Instagram, and then I was wondering, like, there's probably like some people who stalk him who know of my existence now. And then I was wondering, like, how do they see me? Because, like, when I got with my person, like, my current boyfriend, like, it was, like, almost immediate. Like, it was like we met and then we were just together. And then we just both, like, mutually started to act like that. We both mutually wanted to be together. So we just were. But if there was, like, ever anybody in your past or in your person's past who, like, wasn't as immediately successful with your person or with you, then it's, like, they could be looking from the outside in, like, either preying on the downfall of what you have going on or, just, like, projecting, like, negative energy towards it or, not understanding it for what it is. Like, misunderstanding it. Like, my boyfriend's friend, actually, I feel like was trying to rage bait me the other day. And I feel like he misunderstood the kind of woman that I actually am. Like, and, like, that's fine. Like, whatever. Because he's gonna figure it out. Like, that I'm not sensitive in the way that he might have thought that I was. But yeah, like, there could be people, like, the situation can be put to the test, basically. That's what I meaning to say. Like, when it comes to what's being purged from your life, it could not be that, like, in the case of that situation, like, I don't think that my person's gonna, like, cut off his friend because he was rage baiting me. Like, I don't think that, I don't expect that. But I do think that that energy of a need to test me would be what would be proven. Like, the need to test me would be purged. Like, when I can face a test on my character and prove myself to be as I am, and find natural worthiness in being how I am, then like there's nothing for me to prove after that. And then any desire to rage bait me from that point on just really looks like obvious rage bait. And who wants to be the obvious and unsuccessful rage baiter? Like that just makes you look bad if you're like obviously and unsuccessfully rage baiting someone. So it comes to a point in which rage bait becomes futile. And I feel like that could just be the value of me having endurance at this time. Okay. Why is the King of Swords here? Two of Cups and the Ten of Wands in reverse. Yeah, like, dude, yeah, I feel like people might want to, like, bring problems towards you, dude. Or just, like, watching you not have problems. Both, probably. Ace of Swords and Ace of Wands in reverse. This is the witchcraft, the brujeria. Like, genuinely. I'm not, like, bullshitting here. This is real talk. It's happening, but it's not... Like, the weapon is forming, but it's not prospering. Like, I mentioned how, like, my friend, like, caused a delay in me getting to church with my boyfriend, but, like, we still went. And we're gonna go again. So, like, whatever. I can wait. Like, time for you, it's probably not as big of a deal as it is to other people. Like, you might just be more nonchalant or, like, more chill about the things that are happening and unfolding in your life. Like, you're not somebody who is feeling the need to rush things or to be in a rush. And I feel like you're not necessarily surrounded with people who are seeing the world through that same lens. Like, those people who are feeling that they need to be more possessive or more territorial or more controlling are people who are more concerned with how things look in the material plane. Like, I don't mean to talk about my past relationship because it's really not relevant to what's going on right now, but just an example that's coming to my mind. Like, I mentioned, I was in this 2-year situationship with somebody who was dating multiple people. Like, the only way that I could the only way that, like, that was possible was through detachment. But the good thing about that was, like, I feel like the bond that was kind of created in objective witnessing of his character and not, like, romantic attachment to his character as much was that I got to, like, really see how he is, like, as a person, not just, like, as my boyfriend, you know? Like, he wasn't my boyfriend. He was somebody I had a lot of, like, compatibility with. I had romantic interest in him, but a lot of that went unrealized. Like, realistically speaking, like, it wasn't realized potential. Like, it was just, like, good feelings that I liked to hold on to. So, yeah. And, like, the good feelings that you like to hold on to, like, that's kind of how you manifest things, right? So, like, at the point in which I was ready to move on from that relationship, it did not take me a long time to find somebody who actually felt that way towards me. And was ready to invest in me as such. Like, I actually think that relationship helped me to be prepared for what I'm likely to experience in my life in the near future. So I'm, like, grateful that I was, like, allowed that experience, actually. Because for that 2 years that I was just, like, understanding, because I feel like I consistently kind of attract a specific archetype of masculine energy. And a lot of this has to do with, like, my own father. And how he is and how he was when he was younger. Because, like, that guy had the same middle name as my dad. And there was a lot of, like, how that guy acted that mirrored my dad to me. And, like, the wounds that we had in our relationship and like I think I healed a lot of my father issues in that situation. So that's like part of the reason why I'm like grateful for it, because like I learned not only like about like the archetype that I attract, but also like who I am in relation to it. Because like I mentioned like before, like how I attract like these like move arounders, you know, like these people who, like, I'm more of like, I'm gonna be in my environment and stay in my environment, and I have control over my environment. Like I want to have internal control, and I attract masculine energies that want to have external control. And especially in like younger age, you know, like there's a desire to like see, I think in the masculines that I attract, like how much control they could have. And a lot of them were like real like limit seekers. Like they wanted to know how far they could go and what their strength was, what they can do, what they can pull off. And so I was attracting at that time somebody who was really successful in seeing their power be effective. And so like he was kind of, I think, addicted to seeing his own power. To a point even where like he had less control over his own power because he was always using it. Like he was just kind of always using his power. Um, so like there was not a lot of restraint coming from him, and I'm not saying that to critique him, because I feel like he's, for his life and what he wants, like, you know, like I think he probably qualifies as somebody that's successful, but there was just the issue of compatibility at the time. So yeah, I'm like feeling a lot more happy and comfortable now that I'm aligned with someone who, how do I say, um he has, I think, clear and identified goals that he's applying his power to that are less about anyone else. Like he's not really like a people juggler. Like my past person was like a people juggler. I feel like my current boyfriend doesn't really juggle people as much as he juggles. Like, he definitely is a multitasker, because I feel like he has like ADHD or something like that. But I think that that's like he's, if that makes sense. Um, like he has multiple hustles. Like he has done multiple things. He's found multiple ways in his life to create like income sources, and he's been creative and he's been mischievous in those ways. And he's, you know, like resourceful. So, you know, I think I'm attracted to resourcefulness in people. But I just noticed a difference in like the maturity and how like the personal power is kind of like being wielded. And I feel like that could be only a result of my own personal progression. You know, like I mentioned how I used to do a lot more of my magic when I used to live in California, and I don't really do as much of it anymore now. Like I'm more conservative about how I even apply my own personal power. Because I understand that there is waste. Like there is the possibility to waste power, and I don't really want to do that. And I don't want to even really be around anybody who's wasting power either. So yeah. Four of Cups in reverse. Loud ass bird. Ten of Swords and the Nine of Swords. Four of Swords. I do feel like you're kind of initiating people into self-reflection that may not be comfortable for them. But I do feel like, you know, ultimately, like, once they get through the whole my feelings are initially hurt by how you're responding to me thing, they actually are understanding things deeper about themselves and, like, where they should be improving or how they can grow. Where their imbalances actually are. don't be afraid to like hurt people's feelings, you know, like with your honesty, like with your truth. Because I find myself sometimes wanting to hold back what my truth is sometimes for the sake of like sparing people's feelings, but I feel like, you know, when the time is right to speak about what was true and what was real for you, like you should do that. Especially if that relates to like this new relationship that you're about to be moving into. The bird is like chatting up a storm like right outside my window. I'm thinking of Archangel Gabriel now. Messenger angel. Greek mythology, Hermes. So things with wings could be coming in as signs for you of alignment. Okay, that's the first part. We're gonna touch on, dude, this is already an hour and a half long, probably. Shit. It's like the first bullet. I didn't even, it's like, I knew this was gonna happen, bro. Okay. Now we're gonna talk about like business insights. So like, what do you need to know? Like, what's going good with business? What's needing improvement with business? World's longest readings, dude. Okay. So, angels, ancestors, and spirit guides, please allow me to clearly and accurately see what's going on. And Ashley's. Oh, I said your name. Whatever. You don't care. I don't think. So, what's going on in Ashley's reading or energy, so I can clearly and accurately see what's been going on, so I can translate it back to her in the way that she needs to hear it. But you are a swan, though. I do think you are a swan. There's this guy on TikTok. He's like an older, like middle-aged guy, and he like goes like naked swimming. He's German, by the way. He goes naked swimming in this like icy lake, and then the swans like pull up with him, and he just talks about like the weather while he's in there. So you could, you know, you could have a connection to like the extreme weather or something like that. Like extremophiles are the category of creatures on Earth that thrive in extreme environments. So like there are some like bacteria that like literally live inside of volcanoes, and you know, like there's like polar bears and stuff like that. You know, like just creatures that want to be where it's hard to be. Like God's strongest soldiers or like warriors or whatever. I think that's cool though, because like that's part of the reason why I let myself talk about my own life on here, even though like it's kind of embarrassing sometimes to like be like, yeah, I was in a relationship with somebody who's I was in a relationship with somebody who had like 5 girlfriends. Like, yeah, dude, like that was me. I was that guy. I was there. But I don't think I'm the only one who has ever been there. Like, so so I let myself talk about it because I feel like the right people will get me, you know? Alright. Business insights. So let's talk about what's going right first. Like what's going right? What's good? What's going good with Ashley's business? What do her guides want her to know about how she's successful right now? Page of Cups. Knight of Wands. Okay, you're really good at like getting the idea and then like taking it and putting it out. Like that happens really quickly for you. You can be trusted with like information given to you because your guys know you're gonna act on it. You're not gonna just like let it sit and simmer. You're gonna like actually translate it in the way that it needs to be translated. to those who need to hear it. So your guides are using you as a servant for them. So if you notice, like, you know, all of a sudden, like, you post something and then you're getting like bookings from that, or like people are really responding really positively to your platforms right now, it's because you're in the channel, you're in the current, you're flowing with it the way that you need to. Like I mentioned, like I let myself speak about things. So this is like a lack of resistance coming from you in your functionality. Page of Wands in reverse. And yeah, some of these ideas that you're getting, they might seem like, you know, a little niche, but that's fine. Hit the niche. Be that niche. The Lovers, right? Because you're not meant to be for everyone, actually. You're not. Like, I actually was thinking, like, dude, like, why is my YouTube, like, the slowest growing platform I've ever created in my life? But it's fine, actually, because these are really long videos, and they're really, like, intimate videos. Like, I probably don't actually want everybody to see these. Like, it would be cool if I was famous on every platform, but I don't really need to be. Like, it's totally cool if, like, I'm reserved for, like, a specific elite. And I like to think of myself as, like, an elite, so, like, that's actually kind of cool. That I would be, like, for the spiritually elite, you know? Like, I'm a top dog within my industry. I think that you're encouraged to kind of see yourself as that person who hits the niche, has a very specific target audience. You don't, like, it's okay if you have broader messages, but you don't have to only create broad messages. Like, you know how I have, like, the subscription on my TikTok where, like, I kind of post the other stuff? I don't know, like, I know you have, like, a Patreon and then, like, your TikTok, so that could be, like, your duality there. But, like, maybe there's a way that you want to get more personal. Like, bring people in closer to you as the center of your platform. Show them more why it's you that they're connecting with versus other people. And something about that is related to, like, a reflection that you can offer of yourself to them that will make them see themselves. Or help them see themselves, rather. Two of Cups now in the reverse, right after the Lovers. Dude, it's like you're making, like, spiritual love to these people. You're, like, touching them in places that they've never been touched or something like that. I feel like that's how people are, like, kind of responding to you in your work. It's like, you know me. Like, I've had people, like, kind of come and be like, I know that you're my FBI agent and shit like that. So, like, there's, like, a really personal relationship that you're developing. And then this is actually so real because this has happened, and I've been encouraged from my own guys to be more acquainted with this truth, is that although I haven't been, like, seeing the people that I've interacted with and impacted in my work throughout these years, there are people who remember me when I looked, like, completely different. Like, they've been with me for years. Like, they were there when, like, before I even moved to California, you know, like, people who have been, like, rocking with me for, like, years now. And, like, you know, I don't really know those people, like, personally, so I can't, like, identify them. So, like, it's difficult for me to, like, really truly understand how much of an impact that my presence has on people. But there could be some opportunities coming in for you where you're getting feedback from people who are letting you know, like, hey, like, what you're doing, like, the identity that you have with the Fool at the bottom of the deck, like, your Aries selfhood is really impactful for me. It's really inspiring for me. It's pushing me to go further or to try something new. Ace of Pentacles, and here's the reflection, like, I want to invest in you for this reason. So when people are, like, moving towards you, Eight of Wands now, like, and Page of Pentacles, they're like, hey, like, can I, Ace of Cups, but Hermit in reverse, they're like, hey, like, can I, like, get a reading from you? Like, basically, you should be, like, seeing that as, like, these people saying, like, you're the middleman that I choose. Like, if there's anybody who I trust to kind of speak God's word to me, it's you. It's kind of like when people choose a church, you know? Like, they must have gone there a couple of times and, like, really experienced something that they felt like they needed, to the point where they keep going and they make a ritual and a routine out of it. So, like, when you're seeing people, like engage with you with any kind of like loyalty or consistency, it's basically like you manifesting as the angel on earth that they trust. And that's like a big deal. Like that's something that you should like be really excited about and feel really fulfilled by, even if they're not even like, you know, giving you money. You just see the same person like kind of like liking your stuff or like saving it to favorites kind of a thing. These are people who are like feel as if they've gained something spiritually just from experiencing you. Which is just like an enormous honor, I think. And that's something that I think your guides want you to like really dial into, is like, you know, I'm being honored here by the interaction of like God's people with me as somebody who has a connection with God. Like clearly I'm someone who has done the work. So if you're not getting it in any other way, let it just be known, like, the only reason why you're being supported materially through this work is because you're deserving. You've put some kind of work into here to create something of true value for people to like actually engage with and feel benefited by. So yeah, that's what's going right. And now we can talk about what might need some improvement. If there is anything. I don't know if there will be anything. This is meant to just kind of be like a quick little like bounce around part. So, what might Ashley need to improve on when it comes to... And yeah, like that's interesting actually, because I mentioned like becoming more personal, and then when I was doing the prayer part for that, I didn't use the code name. Like if you are attached to your anonymity in your work, this could be maybe a time when you want to be more personal. However that makes sense to you. To whatever extent makes sense and feels safe to you. Okay. How can she improve? This is the Unfolding Path Tarot, by the way. 8 of Swords in reverse. So that's coming out underneath that part where I was talking about like taking action quickly on your ideas. So if there's any kind of hesitation that you're having towards creating content, maybe like new kinds of content, maybe you want to break out of some kind of shell. I remember like I followed your like spam account, and I was thinking of doing the same exact thing. So if you see me doing the same exact thing, it's because I had this idea for myself as well. But I remember that I was following your spam account, and you used to like kind of post like diary entries, like digital diary entries, and I liked those. Like just kind of like, you know, seeing the world through your eyes kind of a thing. So that could be a thing that maybe you're called to like expand towards. Ace of Wands. Yeah, I feel like you might be getting some new ideas in the new year. And this is coming out to clarify the Page of Wands in reverse. So these feel like maybe like old ideas that you just now have more desire to move towards and put action towards. Like, this is happening for me as well. Like, I've been working on creating digital products to sell because I've been feeling like I want to be less of the center of my my platform. Like, the whole giving out energy consultations thing has been like kind of draining me a little bit more because I'm not the same person I used to be. I don't have as much energy to give. So I was thinking, like, how can I still impact people and engage with them without having to personally be there? So, yeah, I wanted to kind of create or think about how to create ways for people to kind of gain spiritual knowledge without, like, on their own, like, self-paced, like, discovery or learning kind of a thing. Why is the Lovers here? Justice. Okay, yeah, that's cool because the Lovers is Gemini, the first air sign, and Justice is Libra, the second air sign. So it feels like you could be in the near future up-leveling just your knowledge base or your skill set or that it's already happened and you're starting to realize that and kind of appreciate that more. I know that I told you in the last reading to kind of like raise your prices and that you did that and that you like that better. So that's a good idea. Like to continue to like appraise yourself properly as you continue to grow in your ability. And that kind of prevents you from falling into a cycle of imbalance because of how intimate this work actually is. The Lovers, and then Justice in reverse. So it's like two people and then also the one person. So like although this is a relationship that you're having with like your client base and all that stuff, you kind of are the leader of this space also. So like yes, you want to do right by them, but it's also probably like even more important to do right by yourself. And you are at less risk of losing in prioritizing yourself as you might think. And people are already kind of putting the appropriate respect on your name. Six of Wands, Ace of Cups, because they've seen what your skill is. So you don't have to like explain too much why you operate the way that you operate, if that's been a thing in any kind of way. Or why you deserve more. Like people already know. Why is the Two of Cups here in reverse? Someone's driving in a gray truck. And a little bundle just came out. Six of Swords in reverse. The Wheel of Fortune. Five of Swords in reverse. And the Two of Swords. A lot of air energy, dude. You already know. That's a Playboy Cardi leak. My person uses SoundCloud, and he sent me his SoundCloud like Wrapped, like Spotify Wrapped, but he sent me like his playlist of like all the songs he listened to on SoundCloud like in the last year, and it just like inspired me to like get back into SoundCloud. So I made a new playlist of like all the stuff I used to listen to, and I've been listening to like the old stuff. Like I kind of like diversified my music taste a little bit like in the last couple of years. Like before, so I live in Atlanta, and I was like, before I left, I was frequently like going to like underground like music functions, and like I was doing like open mics and stuff like that. Like I was amongst Black people, and I really enjoyed that. So like I was like peak Black before I left for California, and then. When I was over on the West Coast, I was kind of like exploring like my white side because I'm actually mixed. So it's like it wasn't already there. I just was neglecting it because I didn't really feel as empowered by it in Atlanta as I did in California. So in California, I was like listening to a lot of like white music, honestly, like some real like garage rock shit, like just like angsty like white boy stuff. And it was really cool and it was really fun and I really enjoyed it. And I just, kind of forgot about like Chief Keef and Playboy Cardi and like all those guys. Like I just wasn't listening to them the same way I used to. So yeah, like I don't know, like with the Wheel of Fortune here, I feel like you might have like some kind of like all-encompassing sauce, or you're encouraged to like kind of develop your all-encompassing sauce because it'll help you to like broaden your I almost wanted to say fan base, but like clientele, like I've gotten really like broad to the point where like I've even had like white men who have booked readings with me, which is like felt like an accomplishment because because I know traditionally these guys don't even like believe in astrology half the time. So like like to have somebody from like over there see me like right here in the center and be like, hey, you have something I might want, and then actually come to me, like that was awesome. I felt really cool about that. But you want, like, in order for that to happen and like actually to have the impact for both of you that it's meant to have, like where this person all the way over here comes to you and actually gets what they need and leaves like positively impacted, you have to be able to know what it's like to be over there. Which means you have to like put some kind of effort into like immersing yourself in ways and positions of being that are not necessarily either the most natural to you or the most familiar to you. Like, they actually will require some kind of work. But I was mentioning before, like with the Gemini to the Libra, like it feels like you might be like queuing yourself up for some kind of up level in your ability to, like, your bandwidth might be expanding. Like you're getting a broader network. So, yeah. I don't know. It doesn't have to be that it's like, white men for you. It could be anything else, like literally anything else. But yeah. I just feel like you could be attracting more. Like even more people are finding you to be the same as them, and that's because you're taking in more as yourself. You're no longer just the thing you started off as when you began to expand your mind. So yeah, cool beans. What do you guys have to say about your practice? Like, what do they? Because you mentioned like some of the spiritual work that you've been doing. So I just kind of want to like touch base on that, get some like external feedback on your personal practice. What's going on? So I'm gonna use this angel deck to kind of see like what forces could be around you right now. And then I'm gonna clarify each of those with wisdom of the oracle. So like what forces and then how are they impacting you? Or like what are they offering you? I'm looking at my German dog, which I mentioned is like my little demon doggy who's loyal to me. I'm hearing that and then he looks at me that I Don't Dance from High School Musical when like when Corbin Blue is like playing baseball. He's like, I don't dance. I said you can't, not a chance. If I could do this, then you could do that. But I don't dance. Get on the floor. I don't dance. I said you can't. Because I was I told my subscribers on TikTok that I've been studying demonology, and before I was resistant to, because I was like, demons? I was like, no. But I feel like my German guy is like in my ear, like, I say you can, not a chance. And I'm like Corbin Blue, and I'm like, I don't dance, like, cause you like dance with the devil kind of a thing. Like, I don't dance. I'm a stand-up guy. I don't dance. He's like, I say you can. Like, I don't. Why is this fucking killing me right now? I feel like, there could be some kind of like line in the sand that you've drawn that you might cross at some point. You might, cause like I remember when I was a kid, I was like super anti-smoking, cause my mom smoked cigars, and I was like, you're gonna get cancer, you're gonna die, and now I smoke. So, like, there could be something about that, like, something that you used to not do that now you understand the value of doing, or now you're willing to do. And it's like not so much like good or bad, it just like is. You're just noticing your own personal developments here. So like, it could be that, I'm willing to bet most of your altar spaces are devoted to some kind of like obviously well-intentioned spirit. Like you probably have like, I think you mentioned like Mary Magdalene, maybe like Aphrodite, like these guys are like cute to look at. But have you considered the darker guys? Because those guys are there and they're probably supporting you with the German dude. And they might want some more recognition from you, like that they're there, that you acknowledge them as they protect you. One of these things, like for me, is my relationship with the police has evolved. I used to be like, fuck the police. Just kind of like out of like I wasn't even really thinking about it when I was fuck the police. It was just like the thing to do to say fuck the police. But now I'm no longer fuck the police. Like, as you can say what you want about the police, but I actually like the police now. So like, I don't know. I don't know. I like those guys. They're actually kind of cool. So yeah, you might just notice that you have less to resist from the dark because it's not your enemy. And you don't need to have unnecessary enemies. Okay, so what forces are around you right now? Like, what are your guides thinking about you in your practice? And who are these guides? Well, Angel of New Life. Holy shit. This is two people, but it's just one guy. You know, this reminds me of Jesus because he has like the whole like dualistic God and man aspect. If you can see, that's like literally like two heads to this one angel. And then Angel of Mysteries came out with that guy. And this is the guy's holding a book. I literally said Jesus. So like there could be some kind of religious text that you're feeling drawn towards right now. My guides have been encouraging me to learn Hebrew again. I actually started to learn Hebrew before I started to learn German. But then I was like, German would probably be cooler. Even though I'm like ancestrally Jewish. Because I'm a snake. At the end of the day, I'm a snake. So, like, I'm flexible. But I feel like you might have some friends on the other side. They're, like, serious. Like, we have also the Angel of Vengeance and the Ground Kingdom Angel. Like, I feel like the forces of the world, which are primarily demonic, might I add, because we are not living in, like, this is, like, God's creation and stuff like that, but, like, he doesn't, like, live on this earth. he's meant to be coming again at some untold time, but he's not necessarily, like, ruling over the earth right now. Like, the earth pretty much belongs to those who have fallen here, like, fallen angels. So there could be some fallen angels that are, like, rocking with you right now. Yeah, so I kind of feel like, it's part of my personal philosophy, and you don't have to agree with this. I'm not trying to force anything onto you. But it's kind of part of my personal philosophy that, like, those people that you see having the most things on the material earth, so, like, think, i.e. Donald Trump, or, like, Elon Musk. These are probably people who also have some, like, considerable, noteworthy, like, demonic fallen angel support, right? Like, in order to amass material power, you kind of need the support of material forces. And the material forces are not necessarily godly forces. Like, they're not necessarily, I'm trying to find the words to say the things that I already know, that I've never really had to say out loud before. So bear with me. But, like, you know how people always tell you, like, don't be jealous of people who have more than you, because you don't know what it takes for them to have that stuff. Like, there's an equal amount of bad that comes along with all this good. So the more good you have, the more bad you also have to have. Like, that's just natural law. Like, for example, Tony Stark. Let's use a character that doesn't really exist. Tony Stark, genius dude, makes all his money from making these weapons. But these weapons that he's making are then being used on these little villages of poor children. Like, little poor children are getting blown up because his weapons are being used. Like Lockheed Martin, like Gaza. So, like, yes, somebody's rich as fuck right now, but they're rich as fuck because an entire city of people just got demolished using their innovation. So, like, it's a favorite Avenger. Yeah, I loved Iron Man. He's cool. But, like, I'm just kind of picking up on these like equal and opposite forces in your life, and if you can't identify who the darker ones might be, that might be something you might want to like think about. Like, you know, no pressure on it for you to like get all the way in with them, because I feel like you probably would want to be knowledgeable before doing that. But that's part of how you become knowledgeable, is just by gaining awareness of them. And I feel like for sure you have those guys around you. I know that I do. I have a big one. So, yeah. Yeah, that's just kind of part of who I am and who I'm meant to be. Is I'm kind of a big deal. Like, you know, I think of myself as kind of being a sun in my solar system. Um, so like I'm burning stuff up for sure. I even have also used like you know, America. Like apparently there's like only like a 3% chance of being born in America, and we're like a world superpower, or like first world country. So there's like like maybe like 85% of the world is living much worse than us. Like, you know, like they don't have indoor toilets and stuff like that. Like, it's easy for us to not be connected to our superiority and our rank when we're surrounded by those who are like us. But when you step outside of yourself, you kind of realize, like, hey, there are a lot of people who I kind of have my foot on their neck right now. Like, think about, you know, the iPhone that you probably have, and the fact that there was like a 6-year-old in Asia somewhere who programmed it. So, like, you know, like, you gotta kind of acknowledge some of this stuff, and how much you're eating off of it, because if you don't, then maybe you could fall victim to like imbalances in that darker energy, like greed or entitlement, lack of gratitude, which kind of make you more vulnerable to losing things that you have that you value. Okay, can I have like one more? I am picking up on Angel of Vengeance though, which it kind of ties in with my German guy, because of my Jewish ancestry. So I kind of think of him as the guy, like the sympathetic guy, the sympathetic evil. Like, I mentioned like "You Are the Only Exception," like that song. Also relates to Twilight. Like, if you ever notice yourself kind of being spared, that's not for no reason. Like, you're genuinely being angelically spared. Like, I have the last name Hyde, which kind of implies that there was at some point where there was a need for my family to survive by kind of escaping something, going undetected. So, you know, if there's some kind of overseeing force of your life, I think it favors you. And that's something to be grateful for. Angel of Sky, literally. I'm getting like big overseer vibes, like Big Brother. Like, I don't know, maybe you could be already being monitored, because I know that when I started to kind of like take the show on the road, like when I went to California and I was living outside of a Marine base, that's when I first started to kind of be like monitored. And at first I don't think that they liked me, I'll be honest. But after, like, you know, going back and forth with me a little bit, I think there was an appreciation for the way in which I go back and forth. So yeah, you can gain appreciation from some of these forces that are darker through your willingness also to contest them. Because I feel like the truth is that, like, strength values strength here. Strength appreciates strength. Real recognizes real. Whoa. Whoa. I have like this Frankenstein's monster kind of family lore. So it's like, okay, another example. Not even just on my dad's side, because I get the Hyde name from my dad's side, but on my maternal side, my grandfather, when he retired, he was a property master. He was a dark-skinned man. He was raised as a sharecropper in Alabama, and then he evolved into a property master. So from like slave to master. And you only really get those opportunities by being kind of like evil. And my grandfather, like, when he was old, he like all of his skin literally looked like scales. Like he had an eczema thing, but his skin was like scaly. Like you could like see like scales on him. So like he was cool to me, but I'm willing to bet he was scary to other people. And that's I think how some of your guys are kind of showing up is like, you know, like objectively dark energy. But I like you, or like I want to protect you, or like I want to see you win. Like I might be the worst, but I still love you. And that's okay. It's not something to even like really be worried about. Although there may be times when you're initiated into like really deep thinking about what it is that is dark around you that you can't escape. Because one of the things that my grandfather like really, before he died, like really tried to get into my head, like I'm an escapist. Like I feel like at the time of slavery, if I had been like, you know, a slave, I would have been like the guy who ran away a couple times. I probably would have ran away a couple times. My grandfather though, not a runaway. Like that's one of the things he told me was like, you can't escape. Like I remember like the exact day that this happened because you got to scare the shit out of me. Like I was telling him that I just want to like escape like the Matrix and like everything that's going on. He got so serious. Like this is a man who like usually ignores everything that's happening in the room around him just to watch the TV. But he like turned away from the TV. I was like, you can never escape. And it just did. I will never forget this, bro. I will never forget this because he was like, it just went straight into my like soul. Like, like it genuinely scared the shit out of me. But like, his life experience would have definitely been different from mine, right? Because he's an extremely dark-skinned man. And I'm pretty fair-skinned, you know? Like, so I have a little bit of, you know, the God complex. I have a little bit of the entitlement. I have a little bit of the I've been spared from certain things that people who are darker than me would not have been spared from. I experience favor based on my skin tone, and I would never say that I didn't, because there definitely is levels to this shit, you know? She's coming back to be like right where she shouldn't be. But yeah. I wonder like who in your ancestry has really suffered the most and what they suffered from, because I feel like that could be one of the main places where you can get inspiration on who some of these darker forces in your life might be. Also, my grandfather, my maternal side is Nigerian mixed with Irish. So Nigerian slaves owned by Irish slave owners. And one of the things that was brought to my attention by my ancestors was that the Irish people were really down bad actually before they immigrated to America, and they were like really poor and also treated poorly even by other white people. So the phrase that came to my mind from them was hungry hate, because they were like forced into a famine by the British, I think. I'm pretty sure. So they had a hungry hate, and I get the my sharp canines from my mom's side of the family. So I literally have sharp teeth, which is cool. I look like I have fangs, but I get that from that side. Also, a lot of the people who were sold into slavery were betrayed by their own family members. So there was it's kind of dark. The more I think about it, it's just like I haven't been to my mom's house in 5 years, but I'm about to go back over to my mom's house for the first time in 5 years, like this Christmas. My mom also was a twin, but she absorbed her twin in the womb. So like it's just a lot of dominance, like fighting for survival, like it's just all over the place on my mom's side. I mean, on my dad's side too, but like, you know, definitely on my mom's side, like you can really see it. Everybody's fighting to live, and they're sacrificing their own. Okay, so what do these angels kind of have to offer to you right now? Can you clarify angel of mysteries and angel of new life, please? Time for a nap in reverse. So this is you kind of being called into action, actually, to initiate the new stuff. I don't know, like, what ideas are kind of being inspired in your mind when I'm saying all this stuff. If you're, like, thinking about stories you've heard from your own family, or if you are going to be around family this holiday season and you want to, like, ask questions. Because I'm also meant to be going to my paternal grandmother's, because she's about to get, like, a hip surgery, and I'm going to be, like, watching over her. So I might even be able to ask her some questions about the Hyde side of the family. Because there's probably some stuff that you would want to know that you're just kind of like sleeping on or just unaware of. Okay, what else from the Angels of Vengeance and the Ground Kingdom? You know, I talk a lot about how a lot of my guides are dead people. I know you're black. You're not like completely black. You're mixed with some stuff, but I think you mentioned like black and native, like dead people all over the place here in America who are black and native. So there could be some literal places that you could visit. Time to go, dude. I want to tell you this because I feel like you'll be able to match me on this. But I have been recently going to this because I live in the South. I live in the South. So there's no shortage of places I can go to connect with the spirits of the dead here because this whole place is haunted. This whole southern region of the country is haunted as fuck. So there's like around the corner, there's this house. It's called the House of Finery, and it's an old slave auction block. And there's literally like a platform and a bunch of like for sale signs, and the ancient art building that is now called the House of Finery, and there's a coffee shop like right next to it. So like I've been going and like getting like a coffee or like a Red Bull, and then I'll go sit at the House of Finery and then kind of like drink the energy from that spot, because like I have Black Cat stuff going on where I have a connection with the dead that they actually want me to benefit from their suffering, that they're okay with me doing this. So like I'll go to the spot and I get like super sleepy whenever I go. Like I'll like literally yawn like 5 or 6 times because I'm releasing the energy that's stuck there when I'm taking it within myself and then transmuting it as power. This is like alchemy stuff. Like I don't know like if anybody else has ever done that or will ever do that, but I literally will just post up at the House of Finery and drink like energy drinks. And then like sometimes you know, I'll get like messages while I'm there, or like I'll bring like my notebook and like, I'll draw pictures of like faces that I kind of see in my head that might have actually been people that like died there or like got sold when they were there. But like all that energy that you know, it exists there still. And these are like beacons that are available for you to kind of like tap into if you know enough to do that, or if you're willing to go far enough to do that. But that's once again, that's pretty dark stuff. So I don't know how comfortable you are with the dark, but me, I'm getting to be pretty comfortable with the dark. And like I mentioned that you know, that whole Gemini to Libra like progression thing was happening for you. If when I say that you're like, well, I don't think I'm ready to do that now. That could be something that happens like later in your journey. But then you kind of like know right now, like through me and my example, that like, yeah, that's something that I might actually be guided to do. Like, and then when I do feel like I want to do it, it's okay for me to do it because of this reason and that reason and this reason. But yeah, time for a nap and then time to go. Time is kind of seeming to be significant for what they're offering you. So they could be offering you more time, or they could be offering you divine timing, like unique opportunities that you're just kind of stumbling upon. You might find yourself getting more stuff done in less time. TikTok! What the fuck? This is 3 cards with time on it. Time for a nap, time to go, TikTok. Oh, they could be actually guiding your algorithm also. Round and round. That's actually kind of crazy. That's a lot of time synchronicity. I don't know if you're seeing like numbers. Imagine. This could be related to like a particular manifestation of yours. I've been seeing a lot of 46, which is my boyfriend's like number. So like it's just like a little sign from the universe that like I don't know. I don't even really know what it means. I just know that like when I see it I think about him. Okay. Yeah. I feel like they're just kind of like aligning you, calibrating you right now. And it's not necessarily about like what you do immediately based on how you're being calibrated, but just you knowing that you are being calibrated appropriately. I would say like also pay attention to your surroundings right now, because you could already be accessing things without knowing that you are. Because when I first started to go to this like corner of town, I was just going to drink beers. Like I would go to the gas station across the street from the House Refinery, and I was like guzzling Heinekens like nobody's business, and I would just like stand there for a while, and then I would walk home. But I only just now, like in the month of December, crossed the street to go be with the Spirits of the Slaves, because I just felt like I wanted to. And at my church, there's like this huge tree that they just chopped. Like it's mostly surrounded by trees, but there's one that they cut like flat. And then after church, while I wait for my dad to pick me up, I'll just like stand on the tree, like the cut down tree, and I'll just kind of like meditate on that for a while. I don't know, dude. I feel like some kind of like evil creature talking about how I derive power from dead things, but you know, I just kind of am that way. So I don't know like what to say. Like either you get it or you don't. Okay, so on topic of your new lover, how is this dynamic at its peak? What could challenge it or was challenging it? Should those challenges be overcome? And future potentials. Moment of silence. You guys can't see her, but my little evil cat is guarding the space. She has eyes that are like flat on the top and then like round at the bottom. So it just looks like she's always mad about something. Like she looks like she's always mad. I don't think I've ever seen my cat look like she's having a happy day. Just her face, though. Okay, I'm trying to think what deck do I want to use to do this. New lover. I don't know why this is taking me so long. I'm gonna use this Tarot of Oppositions, I think. Unless it says no. But I think it's cool. Okay, so angels, ancestors, and spirit guides. Because I want to clearly and accurately see what's being shown to me in the cards, I can translate this in the way that I need to in order for it to be impactful in the way that it's meant to be. We're touching base with this new person with a Scorpio sun. And Venus. I have Venus in the 8th house. And she's my 8th house stellium cat. So, he's a Gemini. Did I write down the wrong person? Fuck. Sorry. Let me just... That might have been the wrong one. I lose a couple people. Because Ashley has hoes. He's a Gemini with a Sag moon. Yeah, I wrote down the other guy on accident. Fuck. Okay, let's cross through that guy. Gemini. Yeah, okay, I literally was talking about the Sag moon. I don't know why I didn't catch that. I have a Virgo rising too, holy shit! Taurus, Venus, Gemini, Mars. Cool. I'm really just gonna focus primarily on the big three. And see if those come out anyway. I honestly don't reference too much astrology outside of like the meanings, like the stories behind them, kind of. Because I honestly am not super astrologically knowledgeable, like super, not as much as I could be. This could be a place where I could grow, honestly. Okay, so Gemini sun. We saw that come out actually a couple times with the Lovers. Alright. How is this relationship at its peak? Yeah, it's not really... I'm learning and noticing that it's not so important beyond, like, its basic meanings. Because I think once you understand the basic meanings, you can kind of, like, intuitively derive meaning from there. Especially, like, with using cards. Like, I have one deck. This one has the astrological associations on each and every card. That's why I kind of like to use this one, because I can get a little bit extra meaning, but I haven't memorized like what every single card is like referencing astrologically. Like that would be a little bit much for me. So yeah. How is this relationship at its peak? What's the highest potential of this relationship that you're starting? Judgment and the Knight of Cups is nice. Because I'm hearing Blue's Clues. Guess who's got a letter in my head. So it feels exciting, like, you know, like something to look forward to. Like, you know, when you get a message from this person on your phone, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, my boyfriend's texting me. Or like, my partner's texting me. My lover's texting me. So there could be some emotional validation coming through to confirm your worth. This person could be complimenting you in ways that make you feel like good. Okay. Lovers. At the bottom of the deck. I literally just said that. And on this deck, I'll have to cover her up a little bit because she's a little naked. But she's offering him something and he's reaching out to get it. So this feels like somebody who's meeting you halfway. And sexual chemistry is probably through the roof. Dude, my boyfriend's best friend, I keep getting suggestions to follow him on Snapchat, but I keep ignoring them. I don't even really use Snapchat. Dominion is now here. This person could have a possessive feeling towards you. Or will. Like with time, as things continue to develop, because I feel like whatever this person is going to experience in you or learn about you and how you are in relationships is going to make them want to like stake their claim. Because I feel like you might represent a more rare kind of like archetype or something like that. Like you might be something that's not easy to find. Tauruses really value loyalty. So if you can like make this person not feel anxious about who they are to you, I feel like this person would really appreciate knowing that they don't have to compete or that they're not in jeopardy of losing their status with you. One of the first things I did when I got in my relationship was basically like, oh fuck, the Amazon truck is outside my door. But like, I met my person and we basically started dating like that day. I gave him my location the next day, and I also posted him on my social media. Cause I'm a Taurus stellium, and I just log in. Like I don't know, like I have no problem doing that. Like I just commit and I make a choice and then I just stand by my choice. I'm not flip-floppy at all. So how is this relationship in its peak? Death. Which is interesting because it's not the sunny side up version of it. It's actually the cold version of it. Ace of Cups in reverse. Interesting. Because this feels dark. And it feels like not so great. But I don't know that, like, I don't know how this really relates to you though. Because, like, I don't know, like, energy that I feel from you feels like kind of smiley. I am using the deck of tarot oppositions though. So this might not be the right one to channel the energy of this relationship. Yeah, the Empress in reverse and the Three of Swords. Like, I wonder here if this is your shadow or if this is somebody else surrounding your relationship. Because the first card, I did write down the Scorpio guy first and then I crossed through him. And then the first card that came out was a Scorpio card. And I shuffled since then, but like I feel like this person from your past could still be in your energy or still desiring to be in your energy. And that could be having some kind of effect on this relationship, especially if you guys were intimate. The Chariot. And the Five of Swords. I probably will switch the decks after I finish pulling this, because I want to get this energy out of the way. Because apparently it wants to be known. It wants to be seen. Like, there could be someone from your past who wants you to, like, look at them, or wants you to go back to them, or, like, wants you to change your mind about them. Why is Death here? Two of Pentacles, yeah. It feels like this relationship may not be the only relationship that's relevant for you spiritually, at least. Like, I don't think that you're really inclined to like you know, be a cheater or like philander or anything like that, but there could be other people who have interest in you, or because this is oppositions. These are the forces that are kind of like naturally occurring to make this not as easy as it, you know, could be maybe. I wonder if this person also has ever seen your work, what they think about it, and if they ever feel called out by it. Why is the Ace of Cups here in reverse? Whoa. Nine of Cups. This is you. You're looking like a snack. This person could have a little bit of like a cornball energy to them, honestly, but I think you would like it. The Tower in the reverse, the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse, and the Six of Wands. Because, like, for them, it's like either I'm gonna be a cornball or I'm gonna be like the most stoic person on earth. So, like, this person could be trying to like get out of their stoic, nonchalant, unemotional bag and try to be more like emotional towards you, but then they feel like they're kind of being corny. So if you feel like there's a difference between what's being felt and what's being said, it probably lies in that, like a need to self-restrain for fear of what could be lost if you don't self-restrain. But if you're like wondering if this person is like sexually attracted to you, like they definitely probably want you to offer yourself to them. But they also, like, you know, probably are okay with that taking time. I miss my boyfriend. This whole thing just made me miss my boyfriend. Okay. Whatever. Knight of Cups. Yeah, this person will do the work to deserve what they want from you, which is nice. Page of Cups. So if you're like flirting with this person, or like if you're like sending them pictures with the world here of your like body or whatever, I think they like that. Especially if they don't have to like ask for it, or like it feels natural that you're like flirting together, or like I don't know, like whatever you have done up until this point in time, this person's really enjoying it. And I think this person feels like you naturally know how to please them in some way. And if you were to like slowly do more and more and more and more, I think they would like that. Like that they gain more from being around longer. Because I do think that at this person's core, they are somebody who likes to strive. Because like Sag Moon, they like to earn things. It's like workhorse. So if you're like, it doesn't have to be like your body either. This could also be, with Scorpio energy, things about your internal world. Because I feel like, you know, you probably also have that like stoic aspect of self where you're like, I don't really express so much, which this person would appreciate, because they might have like a mother wound that you are unconsciously highlighting here without even really knowing it. Like they might have had like a mean mom, or like a unfeeling kind of mom, or unavailable a little bit, so they kind of like wanna like get like a good boy or something like that. I don't know. It feels good to this person when you're telling them how good they are, or because I don't know, I feel like there's something like difficult about getting that response from you. I just saw like both of his parents. I didn't see anything else after that. I'm sorry. Both of his parents could have been kind of unfeeling or critical or distant or difficult to please, which I feel like, you know, if you are somebody who has a unique balance of giving praise and also not giving praise, they both passed. Okay. Jeez. That's tough. Yeah. It's difficult to please somebody who's not around.
So yeah, I feel like this person definitely has a gap or like a wound related to like needing to feel accepted and at home. Accepted and at home. Dude, this might be your foster kid. This might be your foster kid. Because I remember early when I was like, you know, even a kid would like lean on you, and inside of every grown man is like a little kid. I feel like this is a little kid who basically needs to be fostered. Their little inside of them child is looking for nurturing, and I feel like they want it from you. Like there's something about you and the quality that you represent. He has a white mom and a black dad. Dude. White mom and a black dad. I personally prefer the opposite duo, but I can't judge it. Yeah. I feel like this person wants to be successful. Like, really wants to be successful. But I don't know if they have a lot of examples on, like, how to be successful or if they know what that path is for themselves. This person could actually have a little bit of, like, a self-esteem thing that they may or may not be obvious about. This person could, cope with, like, arrogance, actually. Occasionally. But it could just be a result of them having a little bit of like a self-esteem thing. And if this person ever was avoidant of you, because like the thing is here, like you're kind of like switching from being around people who leaned on you to maybe somebody who won't lean on you as much. And I don't know that you'll actually prefer that. Or if, you know, maybe you will, but this could be somebody who has that more avoidant attachment. Okay, that leads us into the next part. What's gonna challenge this relationship? What might challenge this relationship? I just saw a 10 of Pentacles. I feel like this person's parents could actually already be vetting you out. Like, I know they're, like, not here, but, like, they seem to be here. Three of Cups and the Ace of Cups, though, so you might get an approval from the parents. Yeah, 7 of Pentacles. Okay, what could be challenging in this relationship? Yeah, definitely you will experience challenge with this person. Because I'm getting this energy of, like, with the horse, like, the Sagittarius moon, they might try to, like, throw you off their back or something like that. It could be someone who self-sabotages. But, like, Page of Pentacles, it's like, that's what they know. Or, like, they're comfortable in uncomfortable positions. Seven of Pentacles again. Patience is something that you might be challenged with in this connection. Like, you might actually spend a lot of time alone and still be in a relationship. You both have a Sag moon too, so that doesn't help. Two avoidance. But you might spend a lot of time alone and still be in this relationship.
Yeah, the sun. Like, this could be a relationship where it's enough just to know you have this person in your corner. Because that's a loyalty card, like the sun, Leo. So this might be, you know, this actually reminds me of that first relationship I was talking to you about. I was like in a, like, that 2-year situationship, and we were basically just like friends. Um, friends who like barely talk to each other, and like it was weird. I'm not saying it's gonna be exactly like that, but our relationship, it was like, it was strange. Because we obviously had like, you know, a romantic investment, but it wasn't like the center of our relationship really. Like, we just enjoyed knowing that we had each other, and that we were like maybe like each other's like constants in life. Like, I was always going to be there, and he was always going to be there, but like eventually that became like an abused dynamic. But I do feel like this is somebody that you could like count on, especially if you're like consistently investing into the friendship aspect of this relationship, and it's not just like physical. Which is why I said, like, if you make this person kind of like earn their interactions with you, they might, you know, really like that. Because this could be an attractive person who like could have one-off relationships if they wanted to have one-off relationships. Like, this actually could be somebody who used to hook up or something like that. This is the Hierophant. But this person, yeah, like, they're looking at you like they want to be stable, or they want to be like more secure here. The High Priestess, Pisces, and then Judgment, Libra. I think they already know that you would frown upon anything that wasn't serious enough to match your significance. So they're already kind of gearing themselves up to be the more serious version of themselves. Like, they're already knowing the other stuff won't fly. So whatever standards you're having, I think they're pretty much ready to meet. But that doesn't mean that, like, they won't still try to buck. You know, like, they might still try to buck every once in a while. Why is the Ten of Pentacles here? Queen of Swords. This could be somebody who thrives from discipline. Yeah, justice. Like, a lot of Libra cards. So, like, cause and effect, consequence. Maybe also good communication. Knowing what to expect. Feeling in control. The Tower in the reverse. This person doesn't like to feel out of control. That triggers them. This person kind of reminds me of me. I was literally just in not an argument. I feel like he thinks whenever I have like something to say, like my boyfriend, that I'm like trying to start an argument with him, but I'm actually not. Sometimes I just have stuff to say, and I was saying some stuff to him last night. He spam texted if he disappeared. That's nice. I was spam texting my boyfriend last night. He sounds like me. But yeah, like, cause you know, my parents were alive, but like, you know, fuck, I felt like I was alone still. Yeah, for like most of my childhood and teenage years, I felt like I was alone. My mom kicked me out of the house when I was 18, and then I wasn't cool with my dad until then, because I had nowhere else to go. And then living with my dad, we had like a whole bunch of like unresolved issues, and that just kind of like all came to a head, and then I just ran away. Like I just left, and I didn't talk to anybody for years. But now I'm back. I've been back at home since February, but I haven't seen my mom in like, well, I saw her for like a little bit, like a couple minutes, but like I haven't been to her house in 5 years. So yeah, I'm about to go back. But yeah, this person could still be healing certain stuff that kind of makes them, you know, either clingy or avoidant or both at different times. But like I was saying, I was just like having a conversation with my person the other night because I needed to know that he was, well, I mentioned this before. My hormones have been kind of like imbalanced, so sorry, my voice is like being weird. I've been recording this for a long time. I was feeling anxious, so I was kind of like needing reassurance last night, and then he gave it to me, so it was cool. He's mostly clingy, but both, I think he said. Yeah. I feel like this person kind of maybe likes that you're a little bit aloof. Because although that might like kind of like trigger their wounds, they actually like it. And you probably like that they're clingy. Because even though it triggers your wounds, you like it. So this is like, I just saw the Capricorn, the devil here, upright, like in the positive aspect. Because whatever you're being like kind of tied to or trapped to, you actually kind of enjoy. So it kind of feels like, you know, like you're able to enjoy even the things that normally would piss you off with this person. Or you're even able to see these same traits in a different way, or like a new way. Can I have one more card to clarify the High Priestess and Judgment in reverse? If they do see your account, they might feel like you're passing judgment on them sometimes. If they know about it. What? Four of Wands, like, and the Magician, yeah, like, you might, like, have, like, they might feel kind of ganged up on or something like that, I don't know. Sometimes they could maybe feel like you have like this group of people who agree with you that when they're wrong or whatever, that could make them feel away. I don't know. I feel like this person might want to move things quick. So I don't know how you would feel about that. Like they might even be in their head right now about that as well. Like not super totally like imbalanced like quick, because I don't see anything necessarily wrong with this, but I do feel like you were probably like the more defensive person towards intimacy, and this person kind of wants to have intimacy. So yeah, they might want you to let down your guard as it relates to like letting them in some kind of way, and that could be sexually, honestly. When I first met my boyfriend, I was not planning on being intimate with him, but we still ended up being intimate. That's how it went. And yeah, he's quick and I'm snail slow. I had to kind of like, I don't want to say be coerced because it really didn't take that much coercion, but I just decided that I was gonna trust him, and then I did, and it worked out. So sometimes things just work out, and you don't have to think about it so much. Like it doesn't have to be such an anxiety like inducing experience. Okay, this is the last bullet point, and this is about the whole kid thing, the fostering of a child. I'm between these two decks right here. I think I want to go with the green. So, what does Ashley need to know about this inclination towards fostering? How would this go? How do our guides feel about that? How do Ashley's guides feel about her fostering a child? Okay, Ten of Swords, instruction. It's come out in the reverse. 111. What time is it here? It's 3:11 here. I like this picture. But then it's in the reverse, and then it's towards the stag. So I'm thinking like just Nine of Wands, respect the bottom of the deck, and then it's another archer. But this guy's kind of like just in it for himself. I'm thinking about what I was saying before, about the whole like dependency thing. Like you having like kind of like a wound around being enmeshed and people being dependent on you. And I wonder how this would be any different from that. And I feel like before you move forward in relation to like you're like making this real, if you want to, you would probably want to like think about that, contemplate that, a little journal about that maybe. Because I do feel like regardless, at some point, you have to deal with codependency in a relationship. It doesn't have to be unhealthy. Like, codependency isn't always unhealthy. Sometimes it's actually key to a functioning dynamic to know, like, where you're being supported and where you can... where you're the contributor. So when it comes to, like, these clingier, romantic, or even just, like, you know, relationships in general, there's something that needs, that person, that animal, that child needs from you that they're maybe only getting from you. So you being the sole source of support, although that could be overwhelming, seems like that would be a daily reality of fostering a child. An inescapable reality once committed to. So would that be overwhelming as well? And with the keyword on the Ten of Swords, which is normally like a card of like pain, being instruction, it feels like once you kind of acknowledge that that's where your weakness is, you can kind of start to develop your identity beyond it. I don't think this is like a yes or a no. I think it's just kind of like your guides kind of bring this to your attention, like, does it just sound good, or are you really ready for that level of dependency? Because I feel like if you wanted to be, you could be. But you shouldn't go into it not acknowledging that that's kind of the same thing as what you've just kind of walked away from. Like, you know, like you met the inner child of that like last Scorpio person. I remember like when they kind of like you created a boundary and then they kind of like cursed you out or whatever. Like, who's to say that the like, foster child would not do the same thing? Because you're dealing with people who are like kind of broken, and that seems to be kind of what you attract. Or just like needing instruction, needing discipline, needing correction. And so it seems like if you're idealizing what that process would be like, that could be a source of stress down the road. Fuck, I missed the message. Queen of Cups, Salmon. Salmon go upstream to reproduce. I don't know, you might just have your own. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. Home. Because, like, maybe, like, is it possible at all that the desire to foster is coming out of a little bit of a impatience with your ability to create with somebody of your own? Like, is it a frustration with what you've experienced outside of yourself? Because I don't think that, like, once again, I'm not really getting, like, yes, do it, or no, don't do it. I'm just kind of getting, like, ideas on what you might want to continue to think about as it relates to this. Because Queen of Cups, Salmon coming out here makes me think that you could have your own kid. And that chances are whatever that you do end up kind of picking up foster wise, you know, you're kind of gambling with whatever that is. Because these other children, you know, like, they might have experienced fuck all before they get to you, you know? And you would then be, like, you know, solely responsible for the correction, the discipline from, and you're not really working from scratch, you know, you're working from what's already been created and is likely already damaged. Just being honest. It doesn't make them any less worthy, but if you are already knowing that you're having certain issues with unpredictable people or archetypes of inner children, then I feel like that would be something that might make you feel a little bit overwhelmed. 7 of Pentacles in reverse, healing. Oh, I'll show you the card. It looks like this. But it came out in the reverse. So I really feel like your guides are kind of, like, pointing out the contradiction a little bit here. With, like, if you can't handle that, can you handle this? And it's not, like, you know, to make you feel bad or anything. It's just, like, you know, just be real with yourself about what you can take on. 5 of Pentacles, ecstasy. My phone's gonna die! I'm on 20%. 5 of Cups, ecstasy. Because, like, I feel like, you know, I mentioned how I have a savior complex, or I used to have one before. This could be a bit of a manifestation of yours. That you could be thinking, like, yeah, I'll just, like, kind of adopt or, like, foster a kid, and then I'm doing good, and nobody could say I ever did anything wrong. But, I don't know. Food truck just pulled into the neighborhood. I'm not saying that, you know, I really don't want to discourage you, because I feel like this is, like, you know, noble intentions for the most part. But I do feel like some of this stems from, like, maybe a savior complex, and then maybe a little bit of, like, an impatience with your own ability to create from yourself. Because you might just have been feeling frustrated with what you've been experiencing in the past and what exists there. But I don't think that you're gonna experience anything different in terms of inner children, and just because I feel like most of what you're experiencing in these men is kind of archetypes of what you might create. Which is kind of just how that goes. Like I mentioned, how the archetype of what I tend to attract in masculine energies is very similar to my father. Like, I've noticed that trend consistently. And instead of, like, kind of, like, running from that or trying to get away from that, I have just gotten really good at handling that kind of a masculine. Because I attract masculine energies
that need a lot of freedom, that need to be like mentally stimulated, have like neurodivergencies, have trust issues about the things about them that are really sensitive. So they're really guarded emotionally, usually, but still like very emotional masculine energies. Actually, my dad has a Pisces moon, so he's really emotional, really sensitive. But you wouldn't like look at him and think that at all. Like he's actually kind of a hard person. Okay, what else about this? Clarify the stag and the Ten of Swords. Ace of Stones, the foundation of life. I keep missing your messages, dude. Sorry. Why is the Queen of Cups here, Salmon? Dude, the Queen of Cups Salmon being clarified by the Empress in reverse. Four of Cups, boredom. Ace of Cups, the water of life. I think you have two choices here. You could do this on your own, or you could do this with the help of someone else. Six of Cups, reunion. You could do this on your own, or you could do this with the help of someone else. And then we have the Sagittarius, the horse. Knight of Pentacles here. So I get the feeling like, and then there's a partner duo here. And then the kitty baby comes from in between the partner duo. You might get a little kitty baby. Yeah. Okay. You could adopt and foster or whatever. And like cool, like you could do that. But you could also have your own with somebody who kind of submits to you as a leader. So you would still have their support, but they also submit to you as a leader. At least in like a feminine sphere. They do. And then there's a swan on this Ace of Cups underneath that. So it kind of feels like made for life. Especially with the Six of Cups next to it. Reunion. There's like these two little otters, and otters are really strong community-based animals. So, I don't know. Like, you could think about that moving forward, because I don't know that you have to make a choice right now. Especially, like, already kind of having this new relationship. You might not be, like, making this choice in the near immediate future. But, you know, maybe, like, as you're interacting with this person, like, maybe you're just thinking in the back of your head, like, hey, can I see you as a father? Like, how do I think you would be as a father? And would I want you to father mine? And that's kind of like, you know, something that you get to kind of decide for yourself. Like, there's no right or wrong answer to that, I guess. King of Pentacles now. But I do feel like this person, you know, like, they would howl to your moon, yeah? Like, if you wanted to be with this person and, like, and, like, mix with them, I feel like they would be down to mix with you. But yeah, I feel like, you know, no matter how you cut it, you're not gonna get around the whole difficulty of dealing with someone's inner child thing. Because if it's not coming through, like, in a partner, it's gonna come through with, like, this kid. And no one is easy, maybe, to be around. So if you're looking for, like, the perfect connection, like, you might be looking forever.
So there could also be like with this Queen of Cups thing with the salmon swimming upstream. Like, don't give up so easily, because the best things aren't easy to have. You know, like your nurturing could use maybe a little bit of restructuring if you're quick to abandon. So, just food for thought. Yeah. My phone's gonna die, and I think I've been recording for like over 2 hours now. So, I hope that you enjoyed this reading. Thank you so much for your patience and your trust and everything. I give up easily and be the same kind of person. Yeah, because like your guys are like giving you the same lesson like over and over again. That's why I was really grateful that like my guys kind of like put me in a corner and made me like eat a 2-year situationship that I got like next to no gratification from, because now I can like really do the next thing now. All right. See you guys later.